Welcome to Itaparica Beach. What I like about this beach is that it's never crowded. It's not an overly crowded beach like other Brazilian beaches in Rio, Salvador, or even Recife. It's a low-key beach, so you don't get as many people trying to sell you things because it's a local getaway versus a tourist getaway. Keywords: local getaway. Therefore, you get local prices. So if you like myself trying to find an apartment or an Airbnb, whatever you get, the prices are always low. Very cheap prices because of the low popularity of the location and this beach. So you have all these pluses. The only negative or minus would be that if your Portuguese is like bare minimum, like you don't know anything except for oi, hola, that's it, you won't find it difficult to maneuver around, but it'll be a challenge. But that shouldn't stop you because you're on vacation and you're on vacation to explore and learn, so you shouldn't have that much of a problem, in my opinion. And as you see, you don't see a lot of empty soda cans, potato chip bags, just trash and other rubbish on the beach. It's pretty clean. The water is very deep blue. So this is a very clean beach. And again, you don't see a lot of people. And this is a weekday. Now, if I was in a different city that has a popular beach around this time, it would be so packed with people. You would see lots of people tanning. There would be lots of kids. There will be a lot going on, a lot of people trying to sell you things. But as you can see, because this is a low-key beach, it is not a popular tourist destination. You don't see that many people. And this is one of the things I like about traveling to local getaways. It's not overcrowded. You get local prices, and it's much cheaper than bigger cities that have more popular beaches. With all the walking and the heat added on to it, I'm hungry, so I'm on my way to get something to eat. And also I'm racing against time, so I need something already prepared. And if you visited Brazil before, you know the answer to this problem, and the answer is a buffet. Buffets are all over Brazil in all the cities, but you have to be very careful with buffets because you might run into some that will reheat or reserve foods from the night before or days before, and that can make you sick. It happened to me a long time ago in the city of Recife. I'll never forget that because it was my first time eating sushi in Brazil. I got very sick, but once I arrived to Rio, I got some medicine. I started feeling better, so you got to be careful with buffets. Now here's my plate before. I got sushi again. Fish, rice, vegetables, beets. And right here, this is after, so rest in peace to my plate. I'm racing against time because of two reasons. The first reason is I'm leaving Vila Velha, and the second reason is because in my first Vila Velha video, I did say that I would show you the capital, Vitória. So what I'm going to end up probably doing is going to the shopping mall there and show you shopping Vitória. That's it. But most importantly, I wanted to show you the convenience, the distance from Vila Velha to the capital, Vitória. Like you saw in my first video, all you have to do is cross that bridge, and once you cross that bridge, you're directly in the capital of Vitória. I know you're like, shit, you just ate. Yeah, I did, but eating fish and sushi and fruits and vegetables, it doesn't really fill me up, and I'm gonna eat again at the mall. And this is shopping Vitória. It didn't take long to get here, probably like 30 minutes. And this is inside the shopping mall. As you see, Lojas Americanas, they're everywhere in Brazil. And this is the food court. And you have your typical restaurants. You have your Brazilian restaurants. You have your fast food American establishments like Subway, McDonald's, Domino's. And here I go eating yet, yes, again. Something like. Because I will be leaving this city, going on to the next. So you got to stay tuned to see what is the next destination.
Muito bom. E Maceió. Maceió é a orla, a praia mais linda que tem no Brasil, no meu entendimento. Maragogi. Linda. Sim. Também Salvador. Agora tem uma praia, não sei se você chegou aí, no Recife. Recife também eu visitar lá. Lá tem Natal, Rio Grande do Norte. Eu tive lá. O ano passado eu visitei todos esses estados aí com esse carro. Eu fui com esse carro daqui lá.
So this is it. This is my official last night in the state of Espírito Santo in the city of Vila Velha. I will be leaving this city in the morning, going on to my next destination. So make sure that you're subscribed so you can receive the notifications to stay tuned. And if you overheard the conversation, you heard us talk about some of the most beautiful beaches in Brazil. And most of the beaches are in the northeast. If you notice, there's nothing below like Sao Paulo, like in Balneário, the city I was in, or even in Florianopolis. In my opinion and his opinion, obviously, some of the most beautiful beaches are starting from Salvador going up. Also, starting from Salvador going up, it gets more hot. So the climate, in my opinion and his, is much better, and the beaches are much better, and the waters, the colors of the waters, it changes. And some of the places that we talked about were Recife, Salvador, Natal, Maragogi, and Maceió. And I visited all those places. And out the 5, I would say beach-wise, the least favorite or desirable, in my opinion, is Recife. There's nice beaches in Recife, but I don't think it's anything compared to like Salvador, Natal, Maragogi, or Maceió. Now I would say that the top, in my opinion, is Natal. Only because of one thing. Natal, when I visited many years back, I think I have a video of this. Natal is the first city that I saw ever that had sand dunes. Before I visited Natal, I didn't know what a sand dune was. So you might want to check out my old video of Natal. I think I have a sand dune video of that. If not, Google sand dune or go to YouTube and just type in Natal sand dunes to see for yourself. So I would say that's one of my top. And underneath that, I would say that the beaches in Maceió, because it's convenient to other beaches that's nearby, like he said, Maragogi. He didn't really mention anything about Galinhas. Now, that's a beach that's near Recife. That's a nice beach also, but all these beaches are in the northeast. So if you haven't visited anything past, I would say Salvador, I would say check out some of these cities that we mentioned, me and him, that have some beautiful beaches. Or you could just go further down south like I did to Balneário or Florianopolis, or just keep going further south to just discover more beaches, because some of the places that I visited you might not like, and some of the places that you have visited in Brazil might be one of my least favorites, but you'll never know until you explore and see for yourself. So that's the best opinion, is your opinion, not others. If you visited Brazil before, you know some other beaches that were not mentioned, put some of those in the comment section. I would like to see some of the beaches that you have visited in Brazil. I know there's a long list of other beaches that I visited that I didn't name. There's some beautiful beaches that I visited in Fortaleza and also in Aracaju. It's just so many, like I mentioned in the old video. I visited more cities in Brazil than I have in my own country. When I travel to different countries, I like to visit more than one city. You know, because you visit one city in one country one time doesn't make you an expert. But when you continue going back to that country, visiting many cities, it kind of makes you an expert on some things that others might not have seen before because they only visited one city. And this also goes for me visiting Germany, and it also goes for me visiting Colombia. When I go back to these countries, I like to visit other cities because I know one city is not the whole city of the country. You know, there's always differences in each city you visit. This is Cambodia Beach in Vitória, and as you see, it's not overly crowded. This beach is like the beach in Vila Velha, Itaparica. It is a local getaway, so you're not going to see these beaches overcrowded. I have visited this beach before many years ago, and it is similar to Itaparica Beach in Vila Velha. To me, I don't really see a big difference in the two, but I am on my way to the airport, leaving this state of Espírito Santo, going on to my next destination. So make sure you stay in tune to see where to. I choose my destinations based on price and distance. Unlike some countries, it is not cheap to fly in Brazil domestically because Brazil is a big country. So it always depends on where and to you're traveling to and from. For example, from Balneário, if I was to fly into Manaus, that price would be over $500, and that's just one way. So that's an example of how costly it is to fly in Brazil. So you have to be strategic when you're flying domestically in Brazil.
Quanto custa?
12.
12. Tá.
Só o troco?
Sim.
Cartão?
Dinheiro.
Quer um copo, canudo?
Não, obrigado.
I just bought something to drink because my next flight is not a direct flight, so I will be laying over in another Brazilian city for a short period of time. And to piggyback on what I was talking about, being Brazil is a big country and to fly domestically is not going to be cheap. It's like comparing the US. The US is another big country and to fly domestically is not always cheap. For me, being an East Coaster, to fly to the West Coast to LAX, it's not going to be cheap. For me to fly to Mexico, to Cancun, is not going to be cheap. But what's going to be cheap for me is to go to West Africa, Western Europe, South America, anywhere in the Caribbean. Because what we all share in common is the Atlantic Ocean. So you got to be strategic when you're traveling. You know, all I have to do is cross the Atlantic Ocean, which is probably 8 to 10 hours, and I'm in Morocco. I'm in West Africa, you know. If I want to go to the Caribbean, all I have to go to is down below, southeast to Florida, specifically to Miami, and I'm hours away from the Caribbean. You know where I'm at, all I have to do for Colombia, 4 to 5 hours, and I'm in the capital of Bogota. You know, if I want to go to Western Europe, again, cross the Atlantic Ocean, I'm in Portugal. You know, what the West Coast have that the East Coast don't have is they're closer to Asia because they have the Pacific side of the ocean. So all they have to do is cross the Pacific Ocean, which takes 11 to 12 hours, and they're in Japan. And that's their gateway into other Asian countries. So that's what they have. They have Asia, and the East Coast, we have all the other continents because of the Atlantic Ocean. So if you're in Brazil, if you live all the way in southern Brazil, for you to fly to, for example, Manaus is going to be pricey. It's going to be costly, and it's not going to be a direct flight. Most likely, you are going to lay over in Sao Paulo or Rio. So that's why I always say, wherever you're flying to, always the prices for tickets is going to be cheaper and the best if you're in Rio or Sao Paulo. Those are two of the biggest states in Brazil that offer different travels domestically in the country of Brazil, also internationally. Also, flying domestically in Brazil, if you can, I would suggest you use Azul, Azul, over Gol, Gol. I just have better experiences using Azul. There's no delays, or if they are, they're minimal. There's no canceled flights, and if they do, they're minimal compared to Gol. Gol Airlines, it's a hit and miss. But you're going to choose your flights basically on your price and the duration. So, it all depends. But here's my next destination. You see the Sao, so it could be any place. So it's still a question mark. Therefore, you got to keep watching and subscribe to see where to.
Na Azul, a segurança é a primeira a embarcar. Por isso, antes do seu embarque começar, estamos higienizando a aeronave para que seu voo seja ainda mais tranquilo e seguro. Essa aeronave é equipada com filtros que realizam a reciclagem do ar de maneira eficaz e segura. Ressaltamos a obrigatoriedade do uso